In your article, you emphasize that sports betting disproportionately affects downwardly mobile young men. Can you expand on how this group has become a prime target of the gambling industry?
So if you look at volume
Mhm.
of money flowing into these websites, let's just look at like FanDuel
Sure.
and DraftKings. It's not that poor people are the only ones betting. Um, the majority of the money coming in is coming from upper middle class sports bettors. The question is not is twofold. You will look at the targeting aspect second. The first question is who can afford to lose. So if I'm making, I don't know, 35,000 as a graduate student and I want to bet, I don't know, a few $100, every bet kind of ranges between these 10, 20, 100, 200, and I'm betting with my friends, let's say they're making 80,000. We might all lose the same, but as a proportion of the income, it's wrecking me, it's wrecking my life, and they're noticing it likely, but it's they can afford to take certain amount of losses because they have a certain amount of disposable income. What we'll see is that the savings rate of people involved in sports fanhood will decrease as betting increases. I think they found that for every dollar waged, men 18 to 20, 18 to 35, there's $2 missing from their savings account for the coefficient of the other man who's not betting. So
That's insane.
a direct attack on your ability to save, to settle, to begin, to transition into adulthood. Um, so that's the first aspect. Who can afford to lose? The second is targeting, and what we see with targeting is that similar to what we see with um, the kind of what was that documentary that came out? The social gamble. It was about Facebook. I'm forgetting the name
Facebook
of it. It
network.
went like super viral. Anyways, they're creating tranches of profiles for bettors, and you can think of it like every tranche has a kind of faucet to it. So you see DraftKings, FanDuel is on the top, and then you have tranches of bettors. Let's say I'm a loser,
Mhm.
which everybody's losers, but to varying degrees.
Yeah.
I'm losing a lot of money on FanDuel. What are they doing? They are taking my faucet and they are turning it up. They are raining special offers on me, VIP treatment, free tickets to a game. People are reaching out to me, um, special lines on offers. You are just being catered to as if you're a winner. And if you're winning, which no, I think it's about 1 to 2% of sports bettors are actually consistently winning across time. They are literally turning your faucet off, and they are legally allowed to do this. So about 1 to 2% of all sports bettors are being knocked out of the market. FanDuel is just saying, "Look, you're too good. You're costing us, and go find another platform. We are kicking you off. We are limiting the amount that you can bet, the frequency you can bet, and in some cases, you'll just be blacklisted by these sites entirely. So there is no such thing as winning. Most of us are mushing around in the middle of somewhere where it feels between, like we're between winning and losing. We win sometimes, we lose sometimes, but we're continually paying these books a kind of pseudo commission fee. So we're constantly losing even as we're winning. Um, and that's the kind of targeting where, let's say they can create these profiles where we want to specifically market to 25 to 28-year olds between 30 and $50,000 income with this range of a credit score with access to X number of credit cards. They
Jesus.
have these profiles and they are algorithmically, I think this word is becoming overused, but it's useful. So algorithmically funneling advertisements to whoever they have deemed the most likely or vulnerable to continue to bet. And what they often find is that low income people are often incentivized to bet to make up for things like lost wages, low wages. It can feel, I think a lot of people feel like they're doing this to supplement their income.
This is a more interactive lottery the way you're making it sound. Like if Lotto was this thing that
Oh,
you
it's
did,
Lotto.
once a week for the big jackpot, where I live or where I'm from in the Bay Area, and I'm sure it's the same all over the country. I haven't driven across the country in forever. There would be these big billboards that show what the big jackpot is and what this jackpot is.
Yeah.
And the last crazy one I saw when I was in the States, I think it was $1 billion.
Up to $1 billion, yeah.
And I was like, this is insane. But it's it's a different kind of gamble. It's like Vegas, right? It's like roulette. It's a very different gamble. When you're watching a game, it feels like it's just more interactive because there's a game. You still have to see the play,
Mhm.
but you're watching it like I was never a sports bettor. I don't dig it. I'm never a fantasy guy. I don't dig it. If I like my team, I don't want to root against my team for some magical points and
Yeah,
$50 at the end of the year. And I don't give a damn about that. Um, but the cats that watch that, it's almost like they're watching a different game. Kind of back to the original story. It's like my boys watching the game. Like, this is a good game that we're watching here. That was the first game on Monday night where there were no punts
dang, that's a stat.
on either side. And you
Yeah.
can't enjoy that because you got to look at the fantasy thing, you got to check this thing, and you got gambling going on, and there's so much going on. And I also think it makes people feel important. It makes you feel like you're doing something. You feel like the Wolf of Wall Street when you got 12 screens going at once for
Well,
all.
for men, let's talk about it. Well, for men who are a bit systematically marginalized in the school setting, in the traditional school setting, male attributes aren't really what's brought forth in the classroom. I think these sports gambling sites give a lot of men a platform to feel intellectual, to
Mhm,
feel like
mhm,
engaged at that thinking level, whereas it in the classroom, I mean, the stats are coming in, the stats will only increase. I'm at Brown. I think Brown is accepting close to 60-40 towards women, and that's probably based off of a concerted effort to not let it get to something like 70-30.
mhm,
But for men who want to feel like they have a grip on a knowledge base,
mm,
sports.
mhm.
We're not pushing men to sociology,
No.
not pushing men to like, I don't know, any other potentially vibrant intellectual life. And I love sports. I think it is intellectual. It's just that I think what you see here is a lot of the people who are most in tuned, they want to see sports analytically. They want to see sports. The whole legal battle of sports betting is whether it's a game of skill or whether it's pure gambling. And ask any man who's betting on a sport, they don't think they think they're playing a game of skill. And I don't mean to patronize them. I think it can be sold in that regard. You can look up the stats, the tendencies, the next gen stats, the frequencies, and it is intellectually engaging, and it gives you something to talk about your friends with. Um, the issue is that you're getting systematically fleeced while you're doing it. You brought up the March Madness. I have some great childhood memories of printing out March Madness stuff, me and my friends, and we're writing in all the
All
games.
your brackets, yeah.
It is an intellectual exercise. We are debating, we are thinking really hard about key matchups, who plays well. It is a real intellectual exercise. The difference is we all put $20 in a freaking bowl, and at the end of it, no one gets ripped. We all just that money just goes to whoever probably got the luckiest. The issue is now, as friends, we're all individuated, whereas we're not friend to friend, we're friend to platform to friend, and the platform's ripping both of us off, and we could have just, uh, you know, than the old fantasy league thing where a bunch of guys get in a room and pick their teams and just kind of let it be something between them that has like a funny bet at the end of it or something. That's gone.
Now,